Welcome, everybody, at another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. If you're enjoying your day, sweet. If not, then what the hell ever. It is time to go over another Wrestlemania, and this one's a difficult one to really give much positive feedback to because of where we were with the company at this point. And it's going to be WrestleMania 13 back in 1997, Rosemont, Illinois, as they try to keep calling it Chicago, even though it's technically not. But let's go over this. So, 7 main matches on the card, not going to count the free-for-all because that was Billy Gunn defeating Flash Funk, and this was before he became Rockabilly shortly thereafter. Let's go over this stuff as best as humanly possible. So the first match, a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Elimination match. The Headbangers versus Doug Furnas and Phil LaFon versus the Godwins versus the New Blackjacks, which was Bradshaw and Barry Windham under these different personas that kind of look a bit like Bully Busick if he had less facial hair and everything. Winner becomes the number one contender to the tag team titles. And the tag champions at this time are Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. This match, it was won by the Headbangers. Not really much life to this tag match. Like, multi-man matches or anything, even like triple threats or fatal four-ways weren't really done very well just yet at this point. Like, they would start to pick up steam a little bit better, like, later on in 97 going into 98. But it wasn't quite there yet, because doing this kind of matches aren't that easy, even if it's, like, not every man for himself, like a tornado style, but just, like, multiple teams going all at once, all on their own, everything just didn't quite work. But the Headbangers winning, it's fine. Like, at least they didn't have, like, the freaking team splitting up and having their own separate gimmicks and everything just yet, as we would see a few years later, but, not much life to it. The second match, Rocky Maivia defending the Intercontinental Championship against the one and only Sultan, being accompanied by Mr. Bob Backlund and the Iron fucking Bullshit Sheik. Of course, we know the Rocky Maivia was The Rock, like later on, and the Sultan was one of the many incarnations of Rikishi. He was one of the the head shrinkers. He was the whole Make a Difference Fatu, which went nowhere. He's the Sultan, and soon he's going to be shaking his ass, because he's a bad, bad man. But this whole thing, like, the Sultan, he was this character who was, like, from the Middle East, had his tongue cut off and everything, so, like, he couldn't talk and had this mask on. Rocky Maivia, it's like, yeah, the crowd was kind of souring on him, they just couldn't stand this over-the-top, happy-go-lucky, I'm happy to be here, babyface kind of character with no real personality yet. Thankfully, after this, like, he would revamp himself with the Nation of Domination. But it's just like, it's The Rock versus Rikishi just a few years early. In this match, again, it also had no life to it. I mean, the Sultan character, he would not be around for much longer after this. Rocky, he would get injured after losing the Intercontinental Championship, take time away, reinvent himself with Nation and all that stuff. And I remember, like, even during this, they didn't really have much of a build for this anyway. Because, like, just before this, you had that Raw from Germany, which was lifeless. It was, like, I think Rock didn't he have a match with, like, Savio Vega or whoever that was completely lifeless in that Germany show. Like, I know he had some terrible match that nobody cared about, but it's just like, this match meant nothing. Forget it. Next one. Goldust versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So, these two have been feuding a little bit since late 96 going into early 97. Goldust had turned babyface after the whole androgynous stuff and all that. Marlena's there. The previous month at In Your House Final 4, you had the introduction of China, so you also got the women in there. But Hunter would defeat Goldust. It was a passable match. Like, the only thing I probably remember a bit more of their Royal Rumble match just because Goldust saying, "Get up, you piece of shit!" I mean, you have to watch it on the live version and everything, but it was fine, but just not one of the more standout performances, even in, like, for Triple H's career, let alone even in his WrestleMania record. It was just a there match. Now, this one. The tag team title match. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog versus Mankind and Vader with Paul Bearer in their corner. So, this was like an all-out heel tag team match. Because Mankind, he had not turned babyface just yet. He would after this when they started doing the vignettes and everything about, like, I think it had to have been like at least a couple months after this. Because I remember the next pay-per-view he's going against Undertaker, and the one after that he's going against Rocky Maivia. He would have at In Your House Cold Day in Hell. He was supposed to have gotten against Sid, but Sid was just away and everything, so they changed all that. But it was an all-heel tag match, and I remember at one point I think Jim Cornette went over one of the run sheets and everything for, like, the plans for what they wanted to do with Dude Love / Mankind around this time of WrestleMania for when doing employee evaluations. And they essentially wanted Mankind to be Dude Love at WrestleMania and kind of pursue after Sable. And initially, before they changed the plans, Foley didn't even want to do WrestleMania if that was the plan. Look, is there any way I can get off of WrestleMania? I mean, I don't blame him, but we have this tag match. Nobody really remembers it. Like, nothing really special happens. It ended in a double countout. It was just one of the more forgettable tag matches that we get at WrestleMania. I mean, like I said, Mankind, he would turn babyface a few months later when they started doing those interviews showing who he really is. Vader, he would turn babyface after SummerSlam because the whole USA, Canada feud and everything. And Owen and Bulldog, they would start to have their feud and everything. Like, to be like, oh, we're having issues and everything. But then Bret kind of pulled them together to be like, let's make the new Hart Foundation here. But it's just, nobody remembers it. But the next one, everybody remembers this. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart in a no disqualification submission match. A lot of people think this is an I Quit match, but technically no, because I Quit matches, yes, say I quit, and there was usually like the microphone and what do you say and all that shit. And Shamrock is a special guest referee. Now this has been feud. The build has been excellent up to this point. Because, like, it had been going on since Bret took time away after WrestleMania 12 the previous year. Stone Cold was calling him out and everything, trying to get Bret to come back and have a match with him, saying, like, oh, I'm the best, I'm the real excellence of execution. Like, trying to go with Bret Hart and coming back. So Bret came back at the end of, like, the later part of 96. They have their match at Survivor Series. It was a technical classic. They had an absolutely stellar match at Survivor Series. But the feud just kept going. Stone Cold, like, he initially got eliminated later on in the Royal Rumble match, but then he snuck back in because referees didn't see him, and he was declared the winner, but, because, like, he eliminated Bret, Undertaker, and Vader, but then Gorilla Monsoon rescinded it. I think it was Gorilla Monsoon, if memory serves me right, saying, no, you won the match, but you're getting your title match opportunity taken away. You had the Fatal 4-Way Final 4, with the other three men that Stone Cold eliminated. Bret won that to be champion, and then Bret, during this whole time, he's constantly complaining about getting screwed and still having the feud with Stone Cold to be like, oh, this is bullshit and all that. Like, it was a wild promo to have happen on Raw after losing the Steel Cage rematch against Sid. But this was starting to turn Bret heel and everything because he's just constantly complaining about being screwed. And Stone Cold, when they announced this match and everything, because now it's not going to be for the title because Bret's not champion going into the show because that was something they had possibly on the line. Stone Cold vowed he would not tap out to the sharpshooter. So the match happens. Stone Cold's entrance, phenomenal. Like the glass shard, just boom, during the entrance and marching down to the ring. And this match was one of the best matches in WWE history, without a shadow of a doubt. All the praise that this match has gotten has been rightfully deserved to this day. 5-star classic. They took a match that you would think would be a submission-style match, because a submission match, of course, ended up being a brawling classic. They're brawling throughout the crowd. You got weapon usage with like a steel chair, the ring bell, cables and everything. Stone Cold got busted open because Bret bladed him after Austin got rammed in, or whipped into the barricade area near the by the commentary table. Excuse me, it's been a long morning. And this was during the period where they said no blood, but they masked it in a way to make it seem like it was like legitimate and everything. And that blood definitely helped add to the finish of the match, because Stone Cold, he's bleeding profusely. He's got one bad knee and everything, because I think he messed up one of his knees during that Fatal 4-Way the month prior, so he's got a knee brace on. But, like, he's choking up Bret with a extension cable and everything. Bret hits him in the head with the bell, eventually grabs a chair, bashing Stone Cold's knee to shit with the chair. Sharpshooter. Stone Cold is bleeding all over the place, just gushing down his face. And initially seemed like he was about to power out of the sharpshooter, like, just under his own power, but nope. Bret gets it back on because, like, he didn't fully release it compared to, like, if you don't know, if you never saw that moment, it's like when Undertaker initially, like, broke the sharpshooter back at SummerSlam a little later, but he just tried it all leg power. Bret put it back on, and Stone Cold, instead of tapping out, he did the whole babyface thing, as we talked about in the whole Hitman Hart Wrestling with Shadows documentary. He decided to pass out rather than tap out. Because babyface, he's not going to give up, and plus, he stuck by what he said in the build, saying that he's not going to tap out to the sharpshooter, and he fulfilled it. So he chose to pass out rather than tap out with the combination of blood loss and the pain. Shamrock rang the bell, saying like, nope, he can't continue and everything. And this turned Stone Cold babyface, like I said, and then they turned Bret heel, so we got a rare double turn in WWE history, because Bret, not content with like defeating Stone Cold like that without an actual proper submission, decides to do the heel thing and kick his opponent when he's down, stomping at the knee. He wants to put the sharpshooter back on, but then Shamrock just waistlocked Brett and slammed down, being like, come on, you want to fight somebody? Fight me. Brett just like, nah, screw you, and walks off. And so this effectively turned Brett heel. He high-fived some fans in the aisleway, and he flipped off another one. I remember that. And then Stone Cold is trying to get up, and with one of the other referees helping him, like, Stone Cold's like, no, screw you, stunner, and then walked out under his own power, and you can hear the crowd chanting, Austin, Austin, which is a beautiful moment right there, showing that this double turn went flawlessly. So like I said, definitely a 5-star match. If you have never seen this match ever, you need to. Like, this match has gotten so much praise since it happened back in 97, and it earns every single accolade that it's ever gotten. And there's a reason why it's in the WWE Hall of Fame for, like, a match to be commemorated and everything. It's that phenomenal. Next match, one that it's actually pretty good. Ahmed Johnson and the Legion of Doom taking on the Nation of Domination, being Farouk, Crush, and Savio Vega in the 6-man tag team Chicago Street Fight. Originally, it's supposed to be Ahmed, Farouk one-on-one. Then Legion of Doom came back after being away since the end of 92, so now 6-man tag in Chicago. I mean technically Rosemont, but still, regardless. So, 6-man tag going on, and this street fight is actually really good. Because, like, this feud with Ahmed and Farouk, and even happened before the Nation of Domination happened back in summer of 96, Ahmed being injured, there was actually legit beef going on, and then became the whole thing of Ahmed and Nation Domination, which is still keep going on until, for whatever reason, Ahmed joined the group. But it's a really damn good match. There were a couple of, like, iffy spots. I think, like, Farouk injured his shoulder during the match. So, like, they were supposed to have had, like, a handicap match later on at the next In Your House pay-per-view, but that got delayed to the Cold Day in Hell, so they messed up plans there. And I think there was one, like, botched pile driver through the announce table spot involving Hawk. No, I think it was, like, Animal, maybe to Farouk through the table, but, like, they had some issue there. But regardless, Ahmed and Legion Doom would get the tag win. So, awesome moment there. And then you get to the Blue Balls part of the show. The Undertaker versus Psycho Sid in a no disqualification match for the WWF Championship. Because after Shawn lost his smile and gave up the championship, because we were supposed to have gotten Brett and Shawn for the title rematch here at WrestleMania, but Shawn lost his smile, they threw the plans into whack and everything. And after Sid became champion again, they decided, oh, Undertaker, you're going to face Sid at WrestleMania just because. I mean, maybe because he was the runner-up at the Fatal 4-Way match and everything, and because Stone Cold and Brett were busy, but Sid and Undertaker main event, no disqualification. Before the match even happens, Brett's coming out, he's cutting a promo and calling out Shawn, who's joining the commentary team and all that, being like, oh, take your pussy foot injury and fuck off, or however he worded it. But then even Sid took out Brett, he's like, why don't you get your bitch ass out of here? Thank you, Sid! If only you were still around to keep powerbombing Brett when he won't shut the fuck up about Goldberg. Anyway, so this match, like, it's like, it felt like they tried at least a little bit, but it's just like, these two did not gel the best. Like, Sid, like, I like Sid, but there weren't a lot of guys that he really gelled the best with. Like, his match at Survivor Series 96 was probably one of the more standout matches they had when he faced Shawn. But it's like, you had the match even against Brett at the following one in December 96 at In Your House. It's Time. Nobody really remembers that very well. Even the rematch with Shawn, though, at Royal Rumble 97, nobody really remembers. It was just a whatever match. This match, Undertaker, was just blah. Like, they tried some moments, like, I think they tried to destroy the announce table, which didn't help and all that. But at the end, the Undertaker would get the tombstone because Brett got involved. Tombstone to Sid, and then the whole myth goes on that, oh, Sid shit himself during the last tombstone, but that's never been confirmed. Because otherwise, Undertaker would have probably had a hard time staying in character, not being like, ooh, give this man a diaper. But Undertaker would win and become new WWF champion, main eventing the show, and being the champion for the first time since he lost the title to Hogan back at this Tuesday in Texas after Survivor Series 91. So yeah, this was really a 2-match WrestleMania, being the Brett Stone Cold match and the Chicago Street Fight. Everything else was just either or just really poor. Because like you said, everything else is just practically completely forgettable. Like I said, the 4-way tag match opener, nobody remembers. Rocky and Sultan, nobody remembers. Hunter and Goldust, it was fine. Nobody really remembers the tag match. And the main event, you could have done better. And plus the build, like I said, was just thrown together because, oh, Shawn lost his smile. But yeah, this is a 2-match show. Bret Stone Cold and the Rosemont Street Fight. I want to keep calling it because that's where they technically were. But everything else, you're not going to remember, really. It's like, yeah, it's awesome that Undertaker got his main event. He became champion and everything for the first time in 5.5 years and all that stuff. But it's just like, yeah, without these two big standout matches, this would have been one of the worst WrestleManias. Because again, even if the Chicago Street Fight fell below expectations, there would have at least been Bret Stone Cold to save this from being like the worst WrestleMania ever. Maybe possibly worse than 11 if this didn't happen. So maybe it's a good thing Shawn lost his smile and everything, because who knows how different it would have been if it was Bret and Shawn in the main event instead. But anyway, let me know what y'all thought in the comment section below. What did you all think about WrestleMania 13? And it's just like, does anybody even remember anything positive outside of the two standout matches that I mentioned? Just let me know what y'all thought in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast, please remember to leave a like, subscribe with the bell, turn on here on YouTube, comment what you thought below, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for listening, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.